Hello, and welcome to the NEWH Membership Mixer and Virtual Hotel Tour of Hotel Petersburg. My name is Nicole Hall, and I'm the Membership Director of the DC Metro Chapter. I'm so excited about this iconic event today because we're actually gathering in 3 different cities across 3 states to view this awesome renovation. Before we get into it, I'd love to shout out where you are and our awesome venue sponsors. Special shout out to Lighting Environments in Baltimore, Maryland, as well as Spartan Services in Washington, D.C., and Worthing Furniture in Richmond, Virginia. So if you're there, get excited because we're about to go into Hotel Petersburg, which is in the heart of Petersburg, Virginia. It has amazing history and has just been recently renovated and designed by THA Design and Architecture. So let's get into it and see all the amazing hotel details. As we're entering Hotel Petersburg, all I can think of is the hospitality industry, which of course, this is why we're here. We're all a part of NEWH, or we're potential or prospective members. And NEWH, also known as the Network of Executive Women in Hospitality, not only for women, but for all who are looking to advance their careers, their business, and education in the hospitality industry. Whether you're a designer, a hotel owner, or somewhere in between, there's a place for you at NEWH. For me, I've been a part of the organization for over 10 years, starting in the New York chapter and now leading up membership in the DC chapter. And I'm super excited about expanding beyond DC, touching people in Baltimore and in Richmond and everywhere in between. So I look forward to growing our membership base and continuously networking with all of you amazing people as we advance our careers together. So as we get into Hotel Petersburg, there's so much behind it. There's a story to tell in every single detail. Today, we'll be interviewing some of the design team from THA Design and Architecture to understand more of the history, how they use the history in the design and the renovations, and what tells a story from everything from the paint colors down to the carpet details. So let's get into all of those details and see what they have to say, and also show you some visuals behind that as well. We are here with some members of the design team from THA Design and Architecture to talk about all of the amazing design details of Hotel Petersburg. So I'm happy to introduce 2 of these amazing people. We have Matthew Towns, who is one of the principals at THA, and we also have Allie Smith, who is a designer, and they were very integral in designing this space. So I'm so excited to get into the history of this hotel, as well as all of the design details that you guys put into this. And I was really intrigued by the history, right? Hotel Petersburg is over 100 years old, and it has been through some crazy things like fires and all the things. It's been vacant and rebought and refurbished now. So I would love for you guys to tell me a little bit about the historical significance of Hotel Petersburg and what made it compelling for your project.
Would love to share that.
Yeah.
So the hotel was built in 1916. It was designed by Charles M. Robinson. He was a prominent Virginia architect in the early 20th century. For those who are familiar with Richmond, he designed the landmark theater, the Mosque, which is now called the Altria Theater. He also designed some other elements in different college campuses like University of Richmond and James Madison University. So that was the architect. The rest of the building, it really formed and shaped the community. It was really at the center for social life, for political engagements, and really just was the center of the community. So what we really wanted to do was to bring that forward again. Now that it's opened and revitalizing the area, this could be that beacon of hope for Petersburg looking towards the future.
Yeah. So were there parts of your design process where you were looking at that history and like gaining inspiration? Like, tell me more about what that was like and understanding the history behind the hotel.
really not only the history of the hotel, but it was also the history of Petersburg itself. Petersburg is made up of these incredibly distinct historic districts, each with its own vibe and rhythm. And the districts are almost like snapshots of different eras of history. We use that almost as a tool or a palette to pull in the different eras of design that we found within the hotel and bring to life the history of the hotel and also honor Petersburg's unique characteristics.
Yeah. And with all of those different snapshots in different neighborhoods that pull together, I'm sure like different narratives of the past. Was there any one narrative that you guys brought together to tell a certain story in the design of the hotel?
We tried to kind of equally pull from each of those narratives to create something that was uniquely Hotel Petersburg. Not so much from one specific era.
Okay. Awesome. And so tell me a little bit about how the design kind of evolved. So you guys looked at the history behind Hotel Petersburg. You looked at all of these different narratives that Petersburg, Virginia actually had. And then you kind of created this own unique space. Of course, there was historic preservation that came along with that. But what were some of those unique elements that pulled through in the concept of the design?
So, first and foremost, one of the elements that we absolutely had to keep was the terrazzo flooring. Not only is it timeless and beautiful, but the State Historic Board probably wouldn't have let us remove it anyways. Beyond that, there's the wood mail slots at the front desk. That front desk itself is basically all original. We just gave it a little love and adjustment to bring it up to modern standards. Beyond that, all of the marble everywhere, from the stairs to the walls, the wainscoting, the columns, all of that was preserved as much as it could be, along with the wood frames on the windows and doors. As you mentioned before, there was a fire back in the 60s, and so some of it was gone, but we were able to preserve and restore a lot of that today. Beyond that, we were able to find out what the original colors were, and we took those and we modified those for a modern touch.
Okay, awesome. And what I really appreciated as I walked through the hotel was the level of quality in the materials that we don't always see in modern architecture and interiors, from the terrazzo flooring, like you said, or the details in the wood frames, or even on the the windowsills, etc. So with navigating the building actually being vacant, it had gone through a fire. What did it actually take to restore those elements, or keep or bring back parts that might have been even lost?
Took a lot. I mean, it was so much work done by so many awesome different craftsmen and artists. One of the things that makes me think of that is the terrazzo floors. They're so beautiful. I remember there's one spot where they were a little bit damaged, and we worked for so long to try to find a match of something that was just as beautiful as the original floors. And it was so hard to do. We eventually got there, but it was a pretty hard thing to do.
So where did you find it? I'm curious.
I do not remember the specific manufacturer. This was a pretty long time ago. It was one of the big manufacturing names in flooring.
Okay, and they were able to match it.
Yes.
That's good. It's always good to find a manufacturer that has the right thing that you're looking for, especially for these restoration projects. So was there anything else that you uncovered, whether it be structure or history, that might have come up to influence the design direction, or even maybe pivot?
One of our first site visits to the hotel, we went up to the old guest rooms, and we found that the walls were covered in all of these layers of wallpaper that had been ripped and torn back, and was almost peeling back the layers of history of the Hotel Petersburg. And that was one of our driving things behind our design narrative. And then a little while later, during the renovation, we received this email, and it had all these photo attachments, and the photos were of these slabs and slabs of marble. And the marble was originally partition walls in the hotel, but we got to reuse them as vanity tops and tabletops. It was such a cool way to reuse old material.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun. And speaking of guest rooms, I want to take a moment to highlight some of those spaces. So a part of the design, of course, was the guest rooms and especially the corridors. In the guest room specifically, I noticed some really awesome wall coverings, both in the bathrooms and the headboard walls. So tell me about those selections or the process of choosing that.
Those are really fun to select. So the bathroom vinyl wall covering is inspired by Georgian architecture and design. And it's a nod to Folly Castle, which is a historic district or a historic landmark in Petersburg. And the headboard vinyl wall covering, that pattern we custom did to match one of our favorite wallpapers that we found during the renovation, but we've added a little bit of a modern twist to the design just to keep it fresh.
Yeah. I always love that there's like the capabilities to see an inspiration from something that's old, kind of redesign it, and with all the technologies that exist, you can kind of replicate it and make it brand new to looking at. So let's talk more about the design philosophy, because I know you said just now there was like a peeling back of layers in terms of like the wallpaper or even all of these layers in terms of the narratives in the historic district. What was the guiding design philosophy overall for the transformation of Hotel Petersburg?
So the design philosophy kind of came to a start when the owner, Nat, came to our office one day and he was carrying all these boxes. And in those boxes were all of those ripped pieces of the wall covering from the guest rooms. And the boxes were kind of flat and wide. So when we opened them, it was a bunch of different pieces and we could see all of the different patterns at one time. And it was almost like a collage of the hotel's history. It was so cool to see. And that is what really sparked our design narrative, which was layered history. Similar to the coats of paint or the wallpaper, or even the linoleum floors that had built up on the hotel's surfaces over time, we wanted each of our design choices to feel like a piece of that timeline.
Yeah, that's awesome. Linoleum floors. That like takes me back to my grandmother's house. And so with all of the other spaces, of course, we have some of the public spaces that are the lobby, the restaurant, the bar, which is probably one of my favorite areas that I've walked through today. What did you do to like keep it feeling fresh, I guess, because we are in the year 2025 now, and we hope that people stay here for years to come. But what did you do to like just keep the design fresh while also honoring the history behind everything?
So really it was, we started with the existing architecture. I mean, so much effort and work was put into restoring that we wanted to honor that and maintain that as much as possible. But at the same time, we knew that this was going to be a tapestry hotel. Guests were going to be looking for something unique, some modern amenity experiences, etc. So that's really kind of where we kind of took the original colors, made them a little bit more modern. But then beyond that, with the FF&E, we really took a contemporary angle with that. But yet at the same time, added elements that had nods to the historical past as well. A lot of the, modern day accoutrements of hospitality, just like communal table with power in it and, furniture with power in it. Those are the things that we tried to capture, but yet at the same time honoring that historical past.
Yeah. And one key thing that you just said there was a tapestry hotel. Of course. This is a boutique hotel, but it's within like one of the larger brands that we know and love. Were there any limitations that you had to work within for a brand that, in terms of your design?
There wasn't too many limitations that I would say really held us back. I think that the power requirements in the lobby and the needs for the co-working spaces in the lobby or the power requirements in the guest rooms, it was a challenge in the open historic building, but it was a fun challenge.
Yeah. design is always about problem solving. So it's like, okay, what are these things that we have to include? And how can we really make it look good and honor like the design philosophy as well? So let's talk about a little bit about the design details in each of these public spaces, including the corridors. Let's get back to that. So I heard that the corridors were a big part of your design, including some custom carpet. I also noticed that there was some almost like a faux door in the hallway. So walk us through like what the process was and some of those details, and then we can get into some of the public spaces.
So the corridor carpet is one of our favorite pieces of the design. It is the pattern of it is designed to kind of look like the pieces of wallpaper being pulled back. And each of those pieces is kind of like a era in the hotel's history. So that was really important to us. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And then with the faux doors that I noticed, it seems like you tried to like make use of space in a different way and expand the size of the guest rooms.
So the guest rooms, they were so different in the original hotel than they are today. There was a lot of the guest rooms were shared guest rooms and shared spaces, and then some of them were much larger than your typical guest room today. So we had to kind of break up the spaces in a certain way to create the typical size guest room that you would see.
So shared guest rooms, does that mean like two strangers had to share the guest room? Or
I'm not quite sure of the logistics of everything, but yeah, it definitely was a completely different hotel style than what we're used to today.
Right. And you never really think about that. You just sometimes you assume in hospitality like that if a hotel is the way it is today, that's probably how it's always been. But there's definitely been an evolution.
There was many different purposes for those.
and even the faux doors, like that's really part of the preservation of the hotel. So in order to maintain what it was originally, even if we didn't have something behind that door or we just needed to board it up on the other side, that was a way of preserving the look and feel and character of the building from a historical perspective.
Yeah, I love that. So let's get into some of the design details of the public spaces, like the lobby, the bar, and the restaurant. What are your favorite design elements of those spaces?
Really, when we dove into the details of the history of the hotel, we had found out that the room that we're in right now, which was the ladies' drawing room, and the first floor bar, which was the men's smoking lounge, kind of used those original purposes to drive our design intent for each of those spaces, especially in the first floor bar, which is very moody and dark. And a lot of the fabrics that you'll find on the furniture were inspired by men's suiting back in the specific areas of the hotel.
Yeah. And I definitely feel that. Like, this space feels like very light and feminine. Like, I can just come and have tea with the girls. And when I went in the other place, I could, even though the music wasn't really loud, I can almost imagine that there would be like some moody music in the background with cigars going. So you guys definitely did a great job there. Now, another thing that stood out to me in these public spaces was the lighting selections. Was there any specific way that you were going in terms of like historic preservation versus modern? Tell us more about those choices.
We really tried to bring the lighting in with the original design. A couple of the pieces are a little bit more modern and contemporary, but I mean, one of the standout things is a company, Lighting Virginia, redid all of the original lighting that was in the space. I mean, Nat took it all down and kept it and then had it all refurbished, and it is so beautiful. And then we didn't really want to take away from that with any sort of modern pieces. We just kind of wanted our newer pieces to just blend into the space.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about blending new with the old. Another design element that stood out to me in terms of like blending new with the old is the desk almost when you go into the restaurant that uses those old parts, machinery parts of the elevator. How did you guys come up with that?
So actually, that was a project done by the GM, Tom Sullivan.
Okay.
He was just telling us about it. He was so excited about it. It was, and we were blown away by it. It was so cool. Just seeing all of those different, the elevator turn shaft.
I just call it machinery.
Yes. Seeing that elevator machinery on display was really cool. I mean, I remember when we first started the project and Nat wanted to keep and showcase that so badly. And I'm so happy that Tom was able to find a space for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it also sounds like there was a lot of collaboration in the project between, like you just mentioned, the GM, of course, the design team, you had your marketing, and probably even more. So tell me about like who actually had to collaborate to refurbish and renovate this space. Like, let's start there, actually.
I mean, really, it's all, as with any design project, it's all about the team. And I would say that this team kind of was led by Nat, the owner, and his passion, not only for the hotel, but for Petersburg. And that really just kind of trickled down to everything else that happened from, the plaster restoration specialist who spent so much time restoring the plaster, to the architects who had to figure out how to take a building that's, from the turn of the century to bring it up to modern code standards. So there's a balancing act there. We had a local college student work on his thesis project that identified the colors and the finishes from the original building. Beyond that, there were multiple other woodworkers, other craftsmen, and team members. You mentioned the marketing. It really was a team effort that kind of brought it all together not only for the town, but for the hotel itself.
Yeah. And I'm also curious about like what that collaboration looked like from the start. So who started, I guess, the vision? Was it the owner? And then, yeah.
No question. It was Nat from the beginning. I mean, just the way he talked about it, like we all kind of have some shared history and pasts, whether it's Petersburg or just the region. And it was a way to start that conversation, bond. And anytime that you have those moments where you can relate to one another, it always makes for a better project.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that really comes through, even though you guys had to cross-collaborate with all of these different teams, is the attention to detail that you guys took with everything from the design to down to the toilet paper that I noticed today. And that really goes down to the guest experience. So what kind of experience did you guys want for the guests to have when they step into Hotel Petersburg for the first time?
So, really, first time you step in, whether it's the first time you've been here or not, we want you to recognize the history, not only behind the hotel, but of the town of Petersburg. You're stepping into the past, but then at the same time, really being able to capture and drive you out of the building and learn to discover what else the rest of the city has to offer. Because, really, this is, kind of a key piece and start to the revitalization and the growth of Petersburg in the future.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what's next for Petersburg.
Absolutely.
Because this hotel just opened in December 2024, right? So we're just about like 7 months in. So the sky is really the limit for who is attracted to this hotel and what the city can do from there. So if you wanted somebody to notice just like one detail in the hotel as they're coming to visit, or even as we are taking them through this virtual hotel tour, what is something that you want them to pick up on?
Corridor carpets, which I spoke on before, I would say would probably be our favorite detail. The peeling back of the history really represents everything that we're trying to do with this design. It was honoring history and embracing the beauty of time and literally weaving it all into something new. I think if someone picks up on that, then they've really tapped into the soul of our project.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Matt?
Oh, gosh. I think the restoration and the detailing, anytime I see existing materials that we know we would never be able to put into a project now, and being able to reuse those. And I mean, it's going to great use again, but then there's that natural beauty that is been there from the beginning, and we get to experience that again.
Yeah, awesome. And one thing about that in terms of like reusing materials, the stone that's on the walls and all of the detail, did you guys have to source that from elsewhere, or was it just intact?
It was here.
It's original.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And that just says a lot for things like standing the test of time that were maybe manufactured 100 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been great. We kind of dived into some of the details of the hotel, your design philosophy, the history of Hotel Petersburg, and all of the amazing facets of the city that kind of inspired you too. Is there anything else that you want to share with everybody about Hotel Petersburg before we wrap up?
No, I think we.
No, I mean, I think it's a jewel. I look to Richmond as an example. Like, we work in an office that is part of an old historic district that has been revitalized over the past decade. And what I see with Hotel Petersburg is being kind of a key part to that and the town itself. So I look forward to 10 years from now and seeing where Petersburg really is.
Awesome. And if there's any designers out there that are maybe like working on a revitalization, restoration project, what piece of advice would you give them as they are starting a new project?
Learn as much as you can, but at the same time, don't be afraid to make mistakes. The mistakes are the ones that push you outside of your comfort zone and teach you so much more than just learning and working off of what you know already.
I love that. Well, you guys heard it here first. This has been great. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing the experiences that you've had and making this beautiful property. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Madison. I'm the 2025 NEWH DC Metro President, and I'm the owner of NEWH Studio. I want to thank you all for coming out to our 3-location membership event in Baltimore, DC, and Richmond. And of course, thank you so much to our sponsors for opening your spaces to us this evening. If you are not a member, please go to newh.org/join to become a member today. And if you are a member, make sure to go to our website to check out our new exciting events that are coming up for the rest of the year, including an EID event coming up in July. We have a Brand Ed Scholarship Awards event, and of course, our annual golf tournament. I hope you all had a great evening and enjoyed the tour. Thank you all very much.